Greetings YouTube, this is Western Kansas Prepper here with a video about self-defense shootings and the legal world. And I was motivated to make this video after watching a show called Personal Defense TV Strategies, which is on the Sportsman channel. I think it airs on Mondays. I'm not going to show you the clip because I think that might be like a violation of YouTube's copyright laws. The basic scenario they give you is this. This guy was going to the grocery store shopping or something, and this guy and his buddy came up and were trying to rob him. He winds up shooting this guy, not fatally, and his buddy gets away. So the question is, and this guy starts immediately yelling that this guy shot him, why did he shoot him, and then that this guy planted a gun on him. He kicks it away. He says, "Why did you shoot me? Except you shot me for no reason." So that's the scenario. And so then the police are showing up. So what does this guy do? What do you say to the police? That's the question. And this segment comes from a guy named Massad Ayoob, who I presume, I don't know, I think he's some kind of Israeli, Massad or ex-IDF type. I've seen those segments before. He's usually only there for a couple of minutes on this show, but it seems like he gives pretty good advice, usually. But I thought his advice in this situation was very good, and being someone who's seen some of these scenarios up close in the legal world, I really thought it was great advice. First, he sets out what's the traditional advice that you receive in this scenario. Well, traditional advice from criminal defense attorneys is don't say anything. That's the advice. So he points out that can be a problem, because if you do that, remember, this a-hole was willing to rob you. So what are his ethics? Not very high. Is he willing to lie to save his ass about what happened? Absolutely he is. Is his buddy willing to lie about what happened? Sure he is. So that's a problem, because if you do that, if you say nothing, the police only have one story to go off of and one thing to investigate maybe, and that's you. The physical evidence, it's not CSI. Not everything is going to demonstrate exactly what happened based on what physical evidence is around. It's going to depend on the witnesses that were there and whether their stories match and conform with the evidence sometimes. So, Massad points out, well, why do criminal defense attorneys give that advice? And he mentions, well, at best, criminal defense attorneys have clients that are probably 98% guilty. They're not the honest, law-abiding citizen who is defending himself most of the time. So if they do talk to police, those guilty people are probably either going to incriminate themselves with their statements, or they're going to tell the truth about what happened, and then their lawyers will not be able to defend them because they'll risk suborning perjury in court. So, a lot of defense attorneys will say, "Well, I don't want to hear, your side of the story, because I'm just going to base it on whatever the, police say, because I don't want to risk, the perjury problem." So, Massad suggests it's important to set out a bare bones story to the police that's consistent with what happened, so they have something else to investigate besides the a-hole's version of the story. And he says first you need to establish a few things. One, that this guy attacked you. You were defending yourself. Two, that you need to point out what evidence is around. You can point out, I didn't touch the gun, I kicked it. So only his print should be on it. You can point out maybe his buddy had a knife, dropped it down a storm drain. Police may not find that. There were shots fired. There may be shell casings. You may know one may be behind the wheel well of the tire. There may be a round, in that building over there. There may be, you may know better than the police may canvass. They may not find it. You may know better than they do where it might be. So you need to be able to point those things out to them. A related point is there may be people, if there are bystanders, you can point out who was there, who would have seen it. If you don't, police may go up to them and say, oh, they say they didn't see nothing. They don't want to be involved because, this guy's a bad dude. They don't want to testify against him because they're scared. You never know. So those may be the people who are in the best position to exonerate you because they have no stake in this game. They weren't in the middle of it. They're completely neutral. They make the best witnesses, but the police may not know who they are, or they may lie about who they are if you don't point them out. So, very important. The last thing is that you make a statement. It's not dumb to talk to a lawyer about what happened, but you may make a statement to the police, something to the effect, and officer, that's basically what happened, but I need to talk to a lawyer, and then you'll get my full cooperation. I need to visit with a lawyer first, and you get my full cooperation. Something like that. Again, you're giving the police a bare-bones story to investigate as to another possibility of what happened. And that by itself, and of course the other thing, he doesn't say this, but, use some common sense. Don't, this wasn't part of this bit, but don't, chuck your gun down a ditch and then run, or something. Don't do things that are going to make you obviously look like you're the guilty party. But waiting around for the police, they're going to want to secure the weapon and disarm you because they got to secure the scene. So cooperate with that, of course. But other than that, as Massad pointed out, the traditional narrative of don't say anything to the police is probably not going to benefit you in this type of situation. It may greatly harm you. They may believe you only told this side of the story when you had a chance to concoct it with your defense attorney. And they may be investigating everything else. Again, this guy may have his buddy as a witness to corroborate his story, even though they're both liars. So I agree with Massad. It's good to get your side of the story out in a bare-bones type of way. He attacked, you were just getting groceries, he attacked you, you saw the threat, you defended yourself. So, anyway, being someone who's in the legal world, having been with been in the middle of some situations like this, not personally, but having to observe them legally, they definitely, following Massad's advice in most of these situations, is going to benefit you. So I thought this was a great piece. I recommend you go and watch it if you can watch the show. But also, if I find a link to it online, I will link to this video. I don't think it's online, but I'll check before I get done posting this or as I'm editing it and see if I can find the video online. But I thought this was great advice. Obviously, this is not WROL or HSTF because the whole scenario presumes rule of law. It presumes that we're following the rules of our justice system. And of course, this is not real legal advice. You're not to rely on it or anything like that. And of course, your state laws may vary depending on where you are as to what your legal rights are in a situation like this. So check up on your self-defense laws in your state and make sure you know what they are. Okay, it's Western Kansas Prepper. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to your comments. Signing off.